he should do what seems best.
Say it with your chest, Coach Mayzy. Say it with your chest.
No, I'm not.
You should take her back if.
It's not crazy that you tell you. Do exactly what you want to do.
Okay.
And own it with your chest.
Okay.
All I'll help you do is point out the different scenarios and different consequences.
Okay.
But I think that if someone left you when things were sound, then it shows that their commitment to you is for the benefits, not necessarily because of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force Coach Mayzy to say what I want him to say, but I will open up the phone lines now and let you weigh in on the conversation. Of course, we still need to come back to the first story and sort of like wrap it up, sort of almost put it in some sort of a bow. It might not be a neat bow, but we'll put it in some sort of a bow for the person who sent in that story. So call in and let's hear your thoughts on the two stories shared today. 07009510000. I know I keep calling these numbers out. It might be a bit difficult, so let me do WhatsApp instead. 0809 993 0137. Let's do WhatsApp for today so that we're not struggling to hear you. Two stories we've shared. We want to get your thoughts on it. The first one, a lady sent in a message saying she's been dating this guy for about a year. And what's it called? He's hiding her. He's just hiding. He's keeping her a secret generally. But then she pointed out a scenario with his ex-wife where she went on vacation and his ex-wife called and she was checking up on him and he still refused to mention her. And she's saying, should I be worried? Second story, a guy was dating this lady. She left him when he was down in the dumps. Now he's doing better. She wants to come back and he's asking, should he take her back, especially because he feels like what he had with her, he hasn't been able to find anywhere else. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello. Okay, please call on WhatsApp. Let's just do this easy. 0809-993-0137. Call in, send a message, send a voice note if you will, and then we will take it from there. Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello,
good evening.
Good evening. Hello, ma'am.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
My name is John. In this kind of case, the one that the woman, the girl ran away from, if it's me, I will not accept the girl back because the girl left me when I was not having anything. So how am I even sure that the girl even loves me? Because she just loves the money, not me. So and the second one is that that man hiding the money from ex-wife. So it didn't show me serious girl because that tells me that the serious is ex-wife.
All right then. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Coach Mayzy, I'm just going to run that by you very quickly in case the audio was not so clear. He says that concerning the second story, he's definitely not taking the lady back. He will not take her back because I think something along the lines of what you said. What really was she in the relationship for? I couldn't make out what he said very well on the second one. So please, I'm going to urge you all, please, if you want to contribute to the conversation, do it via WhatsApp, 0809-993-0137. But very quickly, while I'm waiting for the calls to come in, let me come back to Coach Mayzy on that first story, right? You have said you're not going to advise. You're just going to, raise some pertinent issues and then have the the people in question go back and do some self-reflecting.
That's right. So I said I was going to say a couple of things.
Yeah.
Let me just do that quickly.
Okay.
So there's a difference between privacy or discrecy and then a secret relationship. Right?
Mm-hmm.
By privacy, I mean that you're not necessarily broadcasting everything about yourself and your relationship out there to any and everybody. But then there are need to know people in your life,
mm-hmm.
right? And I call them the important people. In some cases, maybe the authority figures in your life, the people you typically run your important decisions by. All right. And a lot of people have such people in their lives. Maybe that real guy, that big brother, that uncle, that boss, that church leader, that pastor. There's someone that people usually would consult with for important decisions in their lives, right? So even if the world is not aware, you're not posting everywhere, you're not doing PDA all over the place, public display of affection, right? But then the need to know people in your life would know that you're in a relationship with someone and would, in most cases, have met the person or have spoken with the person. And then he too will let you know that so and so people are aware that we are an item, right? So that's someone who's private, but the relationship is not necessarily secret. The one that is a secret relationship is where nobody is aware that you guys are official. Is where you don't have an official title outside. You're only sweetheart and darling and all of that when you are together. But once you guys step out, you are, hey, my friend, hey, my colleague.
My cousin, in some instances.
My cousin, my sister.
And they'll say it's because of village people. They don't want village people to know about their relationship so they won't spoil it. I've heard that one before.
There are so many formats. So there are many formats. So let's not look like I'm casting my guys. But they are
cast them. Coach Mayzy, you are not here to protect. You are here to expose.
It's entirely up to the ladies to be wise enough. See, anybody can tell, any man can tell you anything he wants to tell. It is entirely up to you to protect your heart and determine to what extent you will be vulnerable with that guy.
But I have a thought on that, Coach Mayzy. Sorry, let me just come in there really quickly.
Okay.
I've come to understand sometimes that in relationships, can you ever really know everything about the person that you're with? Enough to be able to protect yourself from these kinds of situations?
So, yes, you can actually know enough that you need to know. Especially when you are not yet romantically involved. That's when your eyes are still clear enough. That's when your judgment is still detached enough to identify certain red flags and call them for what they are. You see? Yeah, so it's possible to to see certain things. And what happens if you're not romantically involved? It means that you are communicating a lot. You guys are discussing. You guys are hanging out, having conversations. You're seeing them. Are you raising your finger?
Yes, sir.
Can you say something?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to draw your attention. You said this thing a number of times. You've been saying romantically involved. Are we talking about sexual intercourse at this point? Or are we talking romance? Because aren't they two different things? I just need you to clarify. Because I know that romance in itself is not a bad thing. Sometimes it's the sex that beclouds judgment. So I just want to be clear. When you say romantically involved, do you mean romance, or are you talking sex?
Okay, thank you for, helping me to streamline it. I'm talking about sexual involvement, right?
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and it is almost given that in this age, when people say we are dating, it means there's no holds back, man. I'm a counselor, and I get people coming in sometimes, and I always ask, when you say, oh, I was dating this person, I will always ask for clarity. I don't like to assume. Do you mean, what do you mean when you say you were dating? Can you fill me in on the nature of this relationship? And sometimes they look at you like, are you being real right now? What kind of question?
Are you an alien?
Like I said, we're dating now. Yeah, we're dating now. Now. Like everything you can, yes, now. Now. I said I was dating now. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't want to assume. So almost every time, practically every case, someone tells you I'm dating someone, there is access to their bodies. Right? Mm-hmm. So that is it. So it beclouds judgment, right? But if you're having conversations, you're checking out their values, you're checking out their plans, you're checking out not just the things they tell you, but the way they take decisions. You're observing all of these things, right? You see their values are things that are not only told. You see people's values from the way they live their lives. You see it. You see how they respond to things, right? So if you're having conversations, you're observing, you're inquiring, you would observe certain things that will help you make an informed decision. But if you just think that so long as you're attracted to them, it's okay for both of you to start kissing and having sex and just getting exclusive with your bodies, then I feel like that would be cloud judgment, and it just introduces a whole new different aspect of what brings about complications in relationship, right? So for that first lady, we're still talking about us. I just tried to explain the difference between privacy and a secret relationship. Usually, why people think about this, why would somebody say they really love you, they want to do life with you, but can't talk to you, can't talk to the world about you, can't present you to the world, right? There are reasons for that. One, maybe they're not yet sure that they want you. Maybe you've not gotten to that point yet. They are still checking something. They have not confirmed yet. It's possible, all right? So, I mean, till he gets to that point, he's not going to.
I mean, 1 year into the relationship and he's still checking something.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Especially... yeah. You see, that's why you see why I asked what was the basis of the relationship.
I heard you.
If a man wanted to marry you, from the beginning, he would have made up his mind and started, or rather early enough, he would have told you what he wanted and started making moves towards that.
And he wouldn't be hiding about it.
Just to get you in. And then 6 months down the line, you don't see any seriousness. 8 months down the line, you don't see any seriousness. And then you are still there.
Give yourself brain. Give yourself brain.
You understand? Yeah.
Okay.
It's possible he doesn't want that, but she has assumed herself into that role. It's possible. And now demanding a commitment out of something that somebody got into just to chill and pass time. You're not going to get that commitment. So it's possible he's uncertain about that relationship.
Okay.
It's also possible that there are other people that he doesn't want her to meet, and he doesn't want them to meet her.
He's checking something because he's checking something.
Yes. We normally say that if they're keeping you secret from other people, then they're keeping other people secret. Yeah. So if you're that one person in his life, why can't he talk about you? If his marriage to the other wife has ended, then why can't he let her know that he's with somebody else now?
Again, that big if that you just dropped like he was hot. All right, so let's see what some messages are saying. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, I'll just take some messages and then we'll come back to you to wrap it up. And then the phone lines are open in case you want to weigh in on the conversation. As much as possible, let's keep it to WhatsApp. Again, the number is 009-9930137. I see Godwin Yilwong Johanna, who sent a message that they're watching live from Lagos State. Thank you, Johanna. Also, Francis Omaga Namani, watching live from Amagunze in Enugu State. He says, good evening, my people. Thank you so much. Abdulganiu Jimo says, nice one. Thank you for that as well. Yes. And then coming back to WhatsApp, this message, definitely not for me. All right. We've been on this for a couple of minutes. We have about 4 minutes. So since your calls aren't coming in, I'm just going to let Coach Mayzy have the floor. But I will ask a few questions. Okay. So we talked about self-awareness a lot. A couple months back last year when we were dealing with all of these things, and I don't know that this lady in question has not gotten to the point where she has asked herself some of these questions that you've asked, right? That you've tried to open her up to. I don't know that a lot of women would just sit down, especially for the duration that this lady has done, a whole year, right? And not bring up these things in conversation sometimes. Is that something that you think that the man might be doing to just sort of tone her down, right? I don't know. I'm just thinking, could that be a possibility? Because a year is a long time. A year is a very, very long time, right? It's possible that the man is playing games. It's also possible that she also maybe didn't really get into it for the right reasons. But I just really believe that at some point she will have asked herself some of these questions.
So yes, she may have asked herself, but has she also asked him those questions? she asked him those questions? If she hasn't, then I'll say she should ask him, where are we going with this? Where are we going, really? What are your plans? I want to know. A number of ladies, do you know a number of ladies are afraid to ask that question?
The ladies that I know will usually ask the question. One thing that I do know is that the men will run away from answering those questions.
Okay, now I'm telling you that ladies also sometimes are afraid to ask because they fear that question can make them lose the person.
Why should it be that way? What is it with guys and that question?
Because
you cop to it at some point. You said men actually don't like that question. Why?
Yeah,
why is it such an issue?
Because they're not ready for the commitment.
Okay, the ones that don't like it.
For the commitment at all. So they want the benefit without the commitment. So when you start trying to introduce the commitment, they're turned off.
So is it safe to generalize and say men don't like that question, or is it men who are not really about commitment are the ones that don't like it? I brought that up because you said men don't like the question, so it seemed like a general thing, and a lot of men are about commitment. So it's not necessarily that it's a commitment issue. It's just that they just don't like the question generally. So I need you to clarify.
Okay, so it's a commitment issue.
Okay.
I told you at the beginning that when a guy is clear about a lady he wants, there's no confusion there. He goes all out. He tells her. She won't have to ask him that question. In fact, he will get irritated if after I've told you I want to marry you, you keep every now and then you're asking me, are you sure you really want to? You really marry? Yeah, what is going on? Do you understand? You put him off like that.
Okay.
So the men who get asked those questions are the ones who don't tell the ladies anything.
Okay.
They are the ones who don't want commitment. They don't want it.
All right.
So when you start saying, what are we, or let us define this, and they get uncomfortable because why are you getting into those waters? They're uncomfortable. They don't want to have that conversation because they like what they are getting from you right now. And that is all they want.
They don't want to lose it. Is it safe to say that that's enough when you get a man who is non-committal in that sense, that's enough to just head for the hills? Is it safe to say that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. But then why expose yourself to the point where you now have to bring it out from him?
I mean, sometimes life just happens.
If you guys were just friends, and he's not saying anything, then you'll be moving on with your life now. If somebody else is asking you out, you'd have said yes and gone along with that other person.
I'm smiling because
not just friends.
I'm smiling because there's something that I made you do without you even realizing it. But we'll have to come back to that after this break.
Let me give her advice, right?
After the break.
Options. This stands out. This one is brewed with extra special roasted barley. It's rich, dark, and satisfying. It's Trophy Extra Special Stout. Originally.
This is Nigeria